Absolutely, Chairman. I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traore and Burkina Faso.
Ibrahim Traore. What do you know about Captain Ibrahim Traore?
He is Africa's youngest head of state at 35 years of age. Ibrahim Traore went from being a career soldier to the transitional president of Burkina Faso in 2022. He rose to power following a military coup where he and a group of other soldiers ousted his ex-comrade and interim president Paul Henry Damiba.
You will hear about the African Union. Yes, it exists. But what is the effect of the African Union in reality?
Have you ever wondered where Captain Ibrahim Traore came from? What has made Captain Ibrahim Traore the most popular president on the continent of Africa? Captain Ibrahim Traore is being loved, and what has made him the most loved president on the continent of Africa? Many people in Burkina Faso believe that the coming of Ibrahim Traore is the direct reincarnation of Thomas Sankara, who was also a militant leader in Burkina Faso in the times of the 90s, especially in 1983 to 1987, when Thomas Sankara was assassinated. So let's dive into the history of Thomas Sankara before we look at Burkina Faso's youngest president, Ibrahim Traore.
Burkina Faso is a name drawn from the land itself, which has meaning in our language.
Which means?
Land of honest men.
Why did you want to change the name of Upper Volta?
Yes, because Upper Volta, it meant nothing to anyone, especially to us Burkinabe. It's a name that only reminds us of a colonial past.
What you have to know about Thomas Sankara. Thomas Sankara was a revolutionary leader and a former president of Burkina Faso. He was known for his radical policies, anti-imperialism, and the vision for Africa's self-reliance. The reason why people believe that Ibrahim Traore is a direct reincarnation of Thomas Sankara is because of the same goals they are having as the leaders of Burkina Faso. First of all, both were leaders of Burkina Faso, Thomas Sankara and Ibrahim Traore, who is the leader of Burkina Faso right now. Thomas Sankara was a person who used to fight imperialism and white influence in Burkina Faso. He once went into a rival with the government of France because of Burkina Faso. And that is what Ibrahim Traore is doing right now. The key highlights about Thomas Sankara you have to know about. Thomas Sankara was born in December 21st, 1949. And he was later assassinated on the 15th of October, 1987. During his reign of leadership in Burkina Faso, Thomas Sankara renamed the Upper Volta. The Upper Volta, currently known as Burkina Faso, was renamed by Thomas Sankara as he was fighting the imperialism and the white supremacy in Burkina Faso. Later, he promoted women's rights, banning forced marriages, and promoting women in leadership. That was Thomas Sankara. He later launched mass vaccination campaigns and reforestation efforts, cut government excesses, sold luxury cars, and reduced salaries of officials. He also focused on self-sufficiency, encouraged local production and consumption. Thomas Sankara, first of all, when he had just come into power, he cut all excess costs that are being taken by government officials, the luxurious life they live in, despite the country's poor living conditions and poor standards of living. Ibrahim Traore, when he came into power, he banned the judicial robes, that were being worn by the judicials during their work. He banned the judicial robes and replaced them with Burkina Faso's made cotton clothes. Those are the ones right now. Those are the ones they are using right now as their judicial robes. Sankara later was assassinated in a coup led by his former ally, Blaise Compaoré, who then reversed many of his policies. Later, after Thomas Sankara had changed and reformed the Republic of Burkina Faso, he was later murdered by his former ally and former friend, who was always on his right hand, who is called Blaise Compaoré. When Compaoré came into power, he later reversed everything that Thomas Sankara had reformed, apart from changing the name from Upper Volta to Burkina Faso. So that is the life of Thomas Sankara, who is well believed that he's the direct reincarnation to Ibrahim Traore. When Ibrahim Traore came into power, he was a son of Thomas Sankara, or he was there when Thomas Sankara was doing these reforms. He went to the old reforms of Thomas Sankara and has made Burkina Faso to become a very, 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 very rich country. Look at Ibrahim Traore as the president of Burkina Faso. Let's put aside the militant side of Ibrahim Traore. Ibrahim Traore's leadership is always presented as a pan-Africanist leadership. He is always inspired by his predecessor, Thomas Sankara, and he has gained popularity among some youths in West Africa and Africa at large.
In 2017, that this month must be recognized as the Rastafari month. And that's why we are here in support of Ibrahim Traoré to liberate Mother Africa from the white colonizers.
He's been able to change a lot of things, including distancing himself from their former colonial masters, from Burkina Faso's former colonial master, France, and he has always tried to build ties with other countries like Mali, Guinea, and Russia, and also Turkey. Been able to limit on the number of foreign aid that is being received by Burkina Faso. And as of now, I think I'm going to make research on this topic. But I think Burkina Faso right now is not receiving any coin from the IMF or the World Bank, and I think it is the only African country which has stood on its roots as Burkina Faso and its minerals to make itself better. When we look at the economic part of Burkina Faso before and after the coming of Ibrahim Traore, Burkina Faso since 2023 has experienced a modest growth under the transitional leadership of its president, who assumed power in the late 2022. Here is a comparative overview of the country's GDP during his tenure. In 2021, Burkina Faso had a GDP of 19.70 billion. The real GDP growth rate was 6.94%. GDP per capita in US dollars was standing at 745 US dollars. Population was 21.99 million. And in 2023, the GDP rose from 18.82 billion to 20.32 billion, with a rate of 2.96% and 744 US dollars, and a population of 23.03 million. Note, the 2022 data reflects the period before Traore's leadership commenced in September 2022. Analysis shows that under the previous administration, Burkina Faso experienced a robust real GDP growth of 6.94% with a nominal GDP of 19.70 billion and a GDP per capita of 745 US dollars. This was reported by the Worldometer.